Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how I got those shots. So when I first published a little preview of those images, lots of people were asking me how did I light that shot, and I thought that it might be an interesting one to make because it was made all using natural light. Yes, you've heard right. There was no other reflectors, no modifiers, anything like that. It was literally just a model sitting in front of a door outside the studio. So it wasn't even indoors. It was literally outside. And we just shot it there. So as you can see from the setup, the light was right behind our model. I moved her a tiny bit away not to get too much of the side light going through or the little back side light. Because I just wanted to have like this nice clean studio setup. I loved how the natural light really picked up the highlights that we had. It really brought them out much more than a studio light would have. It softened the skins at the same time. So I just really enjoyed the setup, and I thought that it was a really good one to show you because it doesn't cost anything. All you need is a camera and a close lens like a 100mm or even an 80mm, and you will be able to create your own beauty images. So because I was shooting in the shade, I got those nice, beautiful, soft highlights that you would get with a big umbrella. And if I was to shoot, let's say, in the direct sunlight, facing the model, I would get a much harsher light, so it would be much more like a beauty dish. And as you guys know, I do love my umbrella, so I wanted to imitate the same kind of setups, a light that is super soft and super nice. But for that, I had to make sure to still get that high F to make sure that everything is in focus and I don't get, face out of focus, lips and so on. So I set up my camera to f8. I had to boost my ISO a tiny bit because, because we were in the shadow and because we were backlit, we did need a tiny bit more light. So I always do what I want the model to do, so I'm like, I got it. I always do it, I don't even think about it. I ended up boosting my ISO to around 500 to 600 and it did help to brighten the image a tiny bit. Some of the images were still quite dark, but I didn't mind because I knew that I could brighten it up quite a bit in Lightroom without sacrificing the quality of the image. So that's what I sometimes do. If I have to, if I know that an image is going to be dark, I sometimes prefer to underexpose in the camera and then bring it up in Lightroom, because nowadays the softwares are so powerful that you don't really need to, you should try and expose correctly, but you can underexpose without sacrificing the quality. And I find sometimes it's better to shoot on a lower ISO and then brighten in Lightroom rather than, shooting on a higher ISO and then keeping it the same in the post-production, because it's just going to be more grainy and it's not going to look its best. What helped me a lot in this setup was the fact that I had a bright light shining right in front of the model, so it kind of acted like a reflector from the ground. The ground was concrete, it wasn't white, but even with that, because there was so much light surrounding us, it did help to brighten up the face a tiny bit and bring out a tiny bit of those highlights. We did obviously use loads of highlighters and different products to bring in that glow as well. You have to have a good makeup artist to take care of this kind of stuff when you're doing beauty. It makes your life much easier. But saying that, having that big light shining in front of the model, kind of reflecting from the ground, did really help to bring up the highlights much more. So in some shots you can actually see that there's a tiny bit of light coming through the background. Later on I did block it a bit with a reflector just because I didn't want to have too much light falling on the side of her face and causing a bit of imbalance. So it's always a good idea to have maybe like a board behind you, or like I had a door, because it's going to help you create a much more uniform image with beautiful highlights and very soft shadows. For the last look, we decided to oil up the model quite a bit, make her really glossy, and I really loved that shoot. She looked really glazed almost, and it was all about, the facial expressions, having the nice strong look. She had such a striking face, so it was a really nice shoot to do. I think my main goal of this video is to just show you guys that you don't need loads of fancy equipment and loads of fancy lights to really create something nice and beautiful. Even if you don't have a proper studio setup, you don't have to worry about it, and it is possible to take studio quality images without having a studio setup. I picked that light just because I really liked it. When I shot in front of the door, I was like, I really like this light, and I wasn't really expecting to use it full on, but once I took some photos and I saw how it looks, I just decided that it's much better to do it this way instead of sticking to the usual studio setup and not being completely satisfied. Okay guys, that's it for today. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time.